Good morning. It's me again, back with your GMP Live for today. Today is day 6 of our GMP Live feature. For those of you just joining us, we will be doing good manufacturing practices, tips and tricks, and just some information, creating a bit of an overview for good manufacturing practices, how they apply to the cosmetic regulation in Canada and to the natural health product regulation in Canada. We're doing Monday to Friday only, 21 days straight. And today we are going to be focusing on the people in your organization. So within the GMP regulations, I guess it's guidelines, not regulations, within the GMP guidelines for both the cosmetic and the natural health product regulations in Canada, it talks about personnel and it talks about the people in your organization. And so ultimately, the people in your organization are going to be your most important asset and the biggest element to developing this good manufacturing practices manual. And really, we're developing it around the people in the organization, the roles that they fill, and the processes through which they complete their work. So today, we're going to talk a little bit about what the regulations say about your personnel. And so ultimately, we want personnel to be sufficiently trained or to have sufficient education, experience, or accreditation so that good, strong, high quality natural health products and cosmetics are making it into the Canadian marketplace and onto retail shelves. So some of the ways that we can perpetuate that and build that within our organization, there's a few different ways of doing it. Number one will be for people that are singular, so solopreneurs. I myself am I was a solopreneur. I'm not anymore, but that's a whole different ballgame. But for solopreneurs, when you're starting out and when your company is young and you're just developing your business, really you're the only personnel in the organization. And we did talk a little bit about that when we spoke about roles and responsibilities, and we're going to talk again about that today. So some of the ways that you can provide evidence to your qualifications are, your educational pursuits. And it does not mean, and I know we've talked about this, I think we've talked about this in the group. I know I've talked about this with a few of the members individually, and if we haven't talked about it in the group, now is a great time to. So there is no requirement of Health Canada, not for cosmetics and not for natural health products. There is no requirement that says you have to have a certification, an accreditation, or a diploma in any particular science. So whether we're talking about herbalism, aromatherapy, botanical formulating, and chemistry, all of those are great to have. And if you have those, absolutely, that will be your evidence of efficacy in terms of your personnel. If you're in process of those things, your registration will inform people that you are working on this, that you are developing into this science-based personnel. Really, additionally, things that really pull a lot of weight and really lead people down that path of seeing you as a professional and seeing you as qualified are things like articles that you've written, journal articles, some blog posts perhaps. Now keep in mind these need to be research based, so make sure that you are referencing all of your source material in these. Additionally, professional associations, your memberships will speak volumes about what people will see as your qualifications. So these are just some of the ways that we can share a little bit about ourselves and our qualifications and present that evidence. Now, as you move down the road and your company grows and evolves and changes and you have other people working for you, which is where I am right now, this good manufacturing practices and standard operating procedures down the road that you're going to be developing, these things become your training manual. So these packages that we're putting together, not only do they, act as our bridge to getting our site license, they also act as a business development plan that we can follow, and a personnel development plan that we can follow. So there are sections throughout the Good Manufacturing Practices Manual, when you've completed writing it, that will dictate exactly what the expectation is, what the requirement is, how to go about getting to that point. So it'll cover your processes. It covers every last little bit, right down to, what is acceptable for continuing education credits, what your certificates of completion are. And then, of course, they want to see relevant SOPs. So SOPs, for anybody who's new, is standard operating procedures, and that is like the second portion of developing your site licensing package for natural health products. Now, a site license, as far as I'm aware, is not required for cosmetic regulation. However, you are required to have these good manufacturing practices in place. So again, just run through them really quickly. We've got written job descriptions are part of your good manufacturing practices. So you're going to want to write up a written job description for each person, each role within that company. So you're going to want to do that for manufacturing, first ordering materials and inspecting them, for doing your packaging and your labeling and your distributing. All of those things should have an independent job description, even if it is you who is filling all of those roles. And then those job descriptions are transferable when you begin to hire staff and train staff. And those job descriptions will outline the expectation and the requirements from each position. But if you're doing them already, which I'm sure most of you are, then it's really a matter of, I'm going to sound like a broken record keeping. So write down what you do, write down how you do it, write down why you do it, and write down in point form step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to achieve whatever it is you're doing. And that becomes your job description for your personnel as you're training them. Additionally, you're going to want to show evidence to the fact that you have this good manufacturing practices and that you use this as a training manual, and that you additionally offer continuing education classes. So continuing education classes can be classes taken through the professional associations. They can be workshops and certificates that you get elsewhere. My programming right now, I'm in the process of having it qualified and quantified. I'm working towards applications with some of the professional associations and colleges, actually, so that there could be like elective post-secondary credit or continuing education credit with some of the professional associations and colleges, because I know how important that is. Each year we are required as practitioners to, have X amount of hours of continuing education credits. And so I really want my programming to be able to offer that to my students. So that is in process. But yeah, that continuing education piece is really important because especially when you're working with regulations and licensing, the regulations and licensing in Canada is like a living being of its own. It is constantly growing, constantly evolving. We have bi-weekly updates that we get on materials, ingredients, changes to the hot list, updates to regulatory stuff, updates to processes and practices for applications, all of those things. And so it's very, very crucial that you stay up to date on all of that stuff. Because just because you apply for something today and you have it in line today does not necessarily mean that process will be identical the next time you go to apply. And so you do need to, once we, develop the trade relationship with Health Canada, the next step then is obviously they start their communication with you. But part of that is that you do begin to get those updates, and they're called stakeholder updates, and they come quite regularly. And I incorporate those into my programming and into updates that I share on my website and Facebook page and things like that. So trying to keep everybody in the loop. And especially now's kind of a crucial time in Canada's regulatory environment, because we are in the process of rolling out the personal care product framework. And so what that's doing is that's actually changing and merging and modifying a lot of both the cosmetic regulation and the natural health regulation. And it's really, when it's complete, it will prepare us to better apply and better identify where each product should go and what each process looks like. Right now, it's kind of a messy line in the sand, so to speak, and we have what's called the cosmetic drug interface to try and determine if a product, based on claims and based on composition, if that product is leans more towards a cosmetic or more towards a natural health product, because as you know, many of our products can fit in both categories. And so what they're trying to do as a regulatory body is they are trying to develop this self-care product framework so that we have very clear expectations and a very clear understanding of what is licensed through which agency and how it's licensed through each agency. So needless to say, the personnel and the people that you hire and the people that you train and that you develop skill sets with, that is really going to be like the biggest impact on your business, whether that is you yourself for right now when you're starting out, or whether that's as you move towards a future and growth in your business. Either way, the qualifications, education, experience, training, those things are all critical, and we do need to provide evidence in our Good Manufacturing Practices Manual. We do need to provide the evidence that the people we have working at every stage of our process, that those people are qualified, whether through a diploma or whether through a certification program, or whether it is simply through a training program that we are offering ourselves. So that is really, it's a short video today because personnel is pretty, it's a pretty short section within GMP, and yet it is such a critical part of it because honestly it's the people that make the organization and that grow the organization. So that is my tale to tell for the day. If you guys have any questions, drop them into the comments, and I will keep you guys all posted about how the process is going about seeing if I can get my courses certified for the continuing ed credits through some of the professional associations and colleges. And yeah, any feedback you guys have or any questions you guys have, I'm always happy to chat either one-on-one or in the group in the comments. And I hope you all have a great day and a terrific Tuesday. We'll chat with you all tomorrow. Bye for now.